Hello, everybody. Zon gets 134 here again.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen. Only, I know it's supposed to be Mobat Movember, but we've got something a little special for you in honor of a great man. So, as recently stated, Sean Connery has passed recently.
He was 90 years old.
Yeah, 90 years old.
Supposedly, the article I read, he died peacefully in sleep.
Yep. So, we decided that in his memory we would start, because we were planning on doing this segment at some point.
Yeah, because you and I are both pretty big James Bond fans.
Yeah, so we wanted to eventually do this thing where we talk about each Bond actor and we
just go through the movies.
Go through the movies.
What do we like, what do we dislike.
That sort of thing. Talk about the actor's character as a whole, and more or less we would give our thoughts on all of them.
Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't read any of the novels.
I've
right?
not read any of the novels.
I've read everything up to I've read up to Moonraker, basically. I finished Moonraker a month ago, and I haven't been able to pick up the next book in the series yet. But I've been slowly working through them all.
Part of me wants to read them, but the other part of me doesn't really want to read them just because I know
the movies are better.
Well, that and Ian Fleming's kind of a racist dickhead.
Live and Let Die, yeah.
Well,
some shit I read in that.
Well, that and like I know one of his books. He talks about how women are women like became evil because they wanted to vote or something like that.
Yeah, the movies are better.
Yeah. So in honor of Connery, we decided we'd start. You know, because I mean, obviously we were always going to start with Connery because
I brought the VHS tapes. Because I think I told you I was like I think I have all of his movies on tape, yeah. And so I went back and looked, and I'm like, lo and behold, the only one I was missing was Diamonds Are Forever, which I actually found this weekend when I was out thrifting. So I was like, damn, I got them all now.
Yeah. So we will be doing more Mobat Movember,
and I have all these on Blu-ray as well, but just.
This is going to be an actual episode, but it's probably going to go up the same time as the last Mobat we shot. Just because I think that, well, yeah.
And we'll just put them up as both.
So, anyway, let's...
I'll probably put this one up first, honestly.
Honestly, we definitely will. So in honor of Mr. Connery, Sir Connery, actually, he's knighted, we'll talk about his James Bond. So before we dive into the movies, let's talk about, like, his James Bond, like, kind of...
Yeah, to me, I've always thought Connery was the best Bond. And I know that's a pretty common belief I feel among Bond fans. You know, I mean, it's always certainly debatable as anything with Bond because I feel like Bond, a lot of it depends on just what kind of movie are you looking for.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like every actor has their pros and their cons in these. You know, like for me, I love Pierce Brosnan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, I even will defend Die Another Day to a point. You know, but with Connery, I've always felt Connery set the gold standard. I mean, granted, he was obviously that's a little easier for him because he was the first.
Yeah.
We're not counting the TV movie. We're not talking about that.
Oh, you mean the one with Jimmy Bond?
That doesn't count. That whole business doesn't. Doesn't count. But no, just like to me, when I think Bond, I think Connery is Bond to me.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know he didn't like the role after a point because he kind of got typecast about it, but I feel like he brought such a distinctive swagger to the character, you know, and like he really brought him to life. Yeah. Which is interesting because I actually read somewhere that Ian Fleming kind of had doubts about it. He was like, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to do this.
It didn't help that he's Scottish, which, like, Ian Fleming, I think, always wanted Bond to be British. But I think the movies went on because I think Fleming was only alive for up until Goldfinger.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, he
was it Thunderball?
I think he lived a little bit. Yeah, because here's the deal with Thunderball. Interesting enough, and it leads into another movie we're going to review for another time because it doesn't really count as well. Thunderball is actually based on a script he co-wrote. Yeah. That he later then took and wrote some more and then published it and all when it led to a huge lawsuit, basically. Yeah. But I feel like he was alive for up into. I'm actually going to Google it because I'm actually not sure. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
There's a YouTube channel I love where they went and reviewed every single Bond film, which is partially
he died in 1964, so that would have been 64 would have been Goldfinger would have been the last one done when he was alive. So I feel like the Thunderball thing was happening while he was getting up there in age, because I think he died of cancer.
He probably did, knowing how much he smoked. But basically, by Thunderball, he had accepted Connery as the role, and in fact, I think he actually, in one of the stories later, rewrote that Bond was Scottish because he really liked Connery's portrayal of him.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, I think Connery wasn't even their first choice for Bond. It was somebody else. I don't know who, but like basically someone saw him like when they were doing test footage, and they were just like, "That's James Bond." And I honestly can't say I blame them because like in terms of Bonds, I think if nothing else, Connery is probably the closest to Bond from the book.
I can as like I said, as someone who's read Casino Royale, Live and Let Die, and Moonraker, Connery is really close. He's honestly who I imagine when I'm reading the books.
And to be fair, that comes with both the pros and cons because like I said, I'm not a big fan of the books because I'm not a big fan of that Bond.
Yeah, which like I said, it's why I always argue. I've read the books, I like the books, but I think the movies are better.
Because especially when we talk about Brosnan, the reason why Brosnan's my favorite, well, I do think that Connery's the most Bond, like the truest to the books.
Yeah.
My Bond is actually kind of a mixture of Connery's Bond and Roger Moore's, where he's.
Yeah. I would actually argue mine's a mixture of Connery, Moore, and Brosnan.
Well, what I was going to say is, to me, Brosnan is kind of like a mixture of the two of them.
Yeah.
Where he's the calculated, merciless killer, but like he doesn't like smack women around, and he clearly cares about things.
Yeah.
He's not just because being the Britain's greatest assassin has not like completely numbed him, basically. Not to say that I think.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Like I think there's a way of doing like I'll just come out and say it. I think Daniel Craig's Bond lacks. A lot of times,
I'm not a fan of Craig. I've never have been.
A lot of times, Craig's Bond just seems.
I'm not a fan of the tragic Bond that kind of angle they've gone with, which I know some people love it, and all the more power to you.
Yeah, especially because it's hard to really feel tragedy for Bond when he's banging all these super hot women.
Yeah, come on, man.
And also being allowed to just murder people.
License to kill.
Yeah, license to kill.
License to read.
But yeah, I think Connery's Bond, to quote when someone was doing impressions of Bond,
he set the standard.
Yeah,
that's really I think the best way to say it is he set the standard.
Like other actors, when they do the famous line, I hear Bond, but when you hear Connery, it's James Bond. Because he is James Bond.
Yeah.
But like I said, I in credit to Connery, I don't think a lot of the misogyny wasn't really him. It was the 60s.
Yeah.
Like that scene in Goldfinger where he just slaps a random chick on the ass because the men are talking.
Yeah, that.
I'll be fair.
That's the 60s. Trust me, when you start watching movies from back then.
Yeah,
oof.
Yeah,
big oof.
Big oof. But yeah, I think he's very suave, but I think with women sometimes he can be a little ruthless, and I don't really see that with Bond when it comes to women. Like he'll certainly sleep with multiple women, but I don't think he's doing so because it's a way for him to get what he wants. Well, sometimes it's a way for him to get what he wants, spy wise, but 9 times out of 10, I think he at least gives a shit about them.
The books kind of dive into that. He's gotten burned on it a lot.
Which, I mean, fair. To quote Die Another Day, it's sex for dinner and death for breakfast.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and dive into the movies, I guess. And again, I have all these on tape. As I said, this is gonna be might be our new stick. Is just we hold up the VHS.
No, I'm fine with that.
I like VHS. I don't know.
No, I don't mind this being your show. Yeah. I talk a lot.
But yeah, so the first one we got Dr. No, which I'm guessing this was a rental at one point, which, given about this look, this might have been Hollywood Video.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it doesn't have the kind of rewind stuff, but this might have been. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. So, Dr. No,
It's actually the 5th book, by the way.
Which, I do know that. Dr. No is kind of weird. It was I like it, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it to be someone's first Bond.
Yeah, I definitely am going to agree with you on that.
It's
a little bit. I actually argue it's probably one of the weaker Connery ones.
For one, I don't want to say archaic, but there's a lot of
just tropes.
Just tropes that aren't there. For one, when Bond gets his equipment, it's not by Q. It is. I don't even think it's someone from Q Branch. I don't think Q Branch becomes a thing until From Russia with Love. And even then, I don't think they call him Q. I think they call him Quartermaster, which technically is what Q stands for.
Yeah.
But here because like we are introduced to Bond, Moneypenny, and M. I think also the front for MI6, which is what is that? International Imports and Exports. The front for Bond, but his job. But like it's very not only that the plot's very simple, like to the point where like the movie kind of lags in the middle.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hesitant to be too critical of it because this was the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable, but like I don't think I'm wrong in really saying it really compared to the other ones, it's certainly one of the more weaker ones.
Yeah. Especially because like for all the talk about how important Honey Rider is as a Bond girl, she's only introduced in like I think the last third.
She's in like the very last third of the movie.
And even then, she spends most of the movie thinking that there's a fucking dragon. It's like the tank that like he's driving around Dr. No's base. She's like, it breathes fire. Despite the fact you see tank treads, I'm like, how? Like everyone thinks it's a dragon, and I'm like to quote Bond, that is obviously not a dragon. Whatever you saw was not a dragon. Like he gets mad. Like even I'd be like, it's not a dragon. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. Then I will admit, Dr. No, I think is definitely a pretty solid first Bond villain, just because he has a lot of the quirks.
Yeah.
He's a famous, is it Japanese scientist?
I think so. Pardon me, it's been a while since I've seen Dr. No. It's never on TV, I know that.
Actually, the first time I ever saw it was on ABC when they used to do the Bond
7 Days
Sundays.
of Bond.
Yeah. He also is technically the first villain in the series that is a representative of Spectre, which I forget what the anagram's for, but I think it's something.
It's just Spectre. Let's be honest. That's all you need to know.
It's just Spectre.
It's like Hydra.
Like no one actually remembers what the acronym is. But basically, he establishes what Spectre is, and he works for them. It's pretty standard stuff. Like Bond doesn't even really have gadgets in this, if I remember correctly.
It really comes off as kind of like a typical spy thriller of the time.
Yeah. Also, there's no Bond theme for Dr. No. The opening theme that they play for this is literally just the James Bond theme.
Yeah.
But I think what is there of Bond is solid, which is why it got sequels. Because you have him being this ruthless killer. You have him being suave with women to the point where he tells a woman where his house is, and she literally just breaks into his house to bang him, wearing one of his shirts. Like seriously, he literally almost shoots her because he's like,
no, I know.
And then I'm like,
oh, I did it.
I'm like, you broke into my house? I mean, I'm flattered, but I almost killed you. But yeah, like I said, it's pretty uneventful. Getting into probably the next one, which is my absolute favorite Bond film, and also a favorite film of a certain president, which we'll get into.
This is also still sealed.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Factory seal.
From Russia with Love.
Which, for anybody wondering what this bottom one is, this is from 2000. This was the 007 sweepstakes. You could win a motorcycle, snowmobile, ATV, watercraft, riding gear, and many other prizes from Polaris. I don't think you can still enter this, obviously.
No, I don't think you can.
Also, somebody paid $6.99 for this at the E Center Wing budget, apparently.
Or, $7.
Yeah, basically. Plus tax. I paid $0.25 for it. And like I said, it is still sealed. See if you can get the MGM stuff on there. Which is kind of cool. I mean, I have a copy that's on tape already. Plus, I have it on DVD and Blu-ray. So I don't intend to open this. So it's kind of cool just to have it sealed.
From what I remember about this movie, this was actually not supposed to be the second Bond film. I want to say that I think Thunderball actually was supposed to be the next one. I forget exactly, but
probably they were working on it at that point.
Because I think they actually wanted to start after Dr. No going in order with the books. Because they originally wanted to do Casino Royale, but thanks to that TV movie, they couldn't because they didn't have the rights to it. But basically, President Kennedy stated that the James Bond series was like his favorite book series, and that his absolute favorite book of the franchise was this one. So it wasn't MGM at that point.
That was MGM at that point.
It was MGM?
MGM United Artists.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say United Artists. Basically, United Artists was like, well, no brainer what the sequel's gotta be. It's gotta be President Kennedy's favorite one. So they went with From Russia with Love. And to be honest, I can't lie. It's honestly my absolute favorite Connery film. My second favorite is probably Thunderball, but that's just because Thunderball's
Pretty damn solid.
pretty damn solid. But From Russia with Love, in my opinion, is like just the perfect Bond film because it's a Cold War Bond film for one. The other is it's not super.
It's got everything.
It's got everything, but without being overly complex like some Bond films can be.
Yeah.
Particularly some of the
Moonraker.
I was just about to say some of the Moore films because like I like Moore, but not I like them when they're not ludicrous.
Octopussy.
Well, my favorite, of course.
Vito Kill.
Actually, my favorite's The Spy Who Loved Me, but
Yeah.
but again, because that movie's
That movie's perfect.
like I honestly argue it's probably the best Bond film ever made, aside from like From Russia with Love. But like I like the fact that it's a Cold War movie. It has Bond going up against like a KGB agent. Because originally, I think in the book, they actually are flat out Russian KGB, but like in this, it's Spectre trying to cause tension between the U.S. and the USSR.
I remember correctly in the book, it's actually it is KGB, but it's a special wing of the KGB that's basically called it basically translates to Smash.
Yeah.
Which is basically the books have this kind of plot going. It starts in Casino Royale. Basically, the scene where he gets tortured.
Yeah, the ball scene.
Yeah. In the book, what happens is, and forgive me, it's been forever since I've seen the movie. I'm not a Craig guy. What happens is the guy that's torturing him gets flat out fucking murdered.
Yeah.
By this Russian agent, right? Mm-hmm. Because he was a double agent.
Yeah.
And basically what happens is he lets Bond go, but he marks a letter into his hand to basically be like, I'm letting you go now, but I'm coming back for you.
Which, of course, Bond murders the dude later, I'm assuming.
I haven't got that far in the book series yet, so
sorry.
I don't know. But it actually leads to the part where he basically gets a surgery to get rid of the end. Like they transfer skin because it's he's a spy. You can't have that kind of distinguishing mark.
Because fun fact, if I remember correctly, in the book version of From Russia with Love, it doesn't end nearly as nice as because I think Bond appears to die in the.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that book yet. I believe.
Sorry.
You can go ahead, I don't really care. These books are from the 60s.
Well, I know.
You don't have to tag no spoilers.
But like I know the book ends radically different from Russia with Love.
Most of them do.
But to be fair, I prefer this ending anyways, just because I don't want to watch Bond die.
Yeah.
But
that's how most of these books end, is that Bond almost fucking dies, basically.
Yeah. Also, like I think this Bond girl's a lot. I can never remember her name, but I like this Bond girl more than Honey Rider. She's actually Russian KGB, but Russian intelligence, but she's actually accidentally working for Spectre because Spectre has a.
It doesn't even list her on the bag; it just lists her actress, Daniela Bianchi.
Yeah, I think it's Anya something. I almost want to say Anya Onatov, but that's different Bond girl. But for one,
actually that's probably my favorite Golden. That's actually my favorite Bond film was GoldenEye.
But I like her because, like, in my opinion, she's way sexier in this because literally she shows up to Bond in just a choker and a bed sheet, which I was like,
you have my attention.
You have my attention. And the other is I think she's a little bit more interesting just because she actually is Russian intelligence, and I actually kind of like the whole romance between.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice like playing off of each other.
Yeah, and she's not very proactive in the story. She at least doesn't grate on my nerves like Honey Rider does, despite the fact that Ursula Andress is pretty smoking hot in that movie. Mm-hmm. But like that, and you have Spectre creating this unkillable warrior to fight Bond, and Bond still comes out on top. This era, I think, where they really do the really cool gadgets. Like, I love his briefcase in this. That like, if you don't open it right, it like emits tear gas. I think his watch. He has one of the trick watches in this. I can't remember what the trick watch in here does. It's not like one of the ones where like it's a buzzsaw like one of the later ones did, but That I think he has like a rifle that can collapse because I think he uses a rifle.
That was a pretty common thing back then.
Yeah, but here, like, especially because like Ian Flynn actually did a really good job of like making the gadgets believable. It's why I don't like later.
Well, it's
like,
because he actually was he was OSS during World War II.
Well, because like I think it's unfair for everyone to grate on the gadgets because like the later films made them ludicrous. Like,
have you actually read anything about real spies? There is shit like that.
Yeah, like that's why I hate in Skyfall, despite the fact that Skyfall's probably the only Daniel Craig movie I liked. Like the part where he was like, "What? Were you exploding an exploding pen? We don't do that here." I'm like,
really?
It was because it's like they're referencing Goldeneye, which most people universally like.
During World War II, they made pens that were guns. Like, what do you mean?
For God's sakes, the Spetsnaz are outfitted with knives that actually are like the ones that like if you press the button, the blade shoots out.
Yeah,
like
in the Punisher movie.
Yeah,
remember he does it with the butterfly knife.
Yeah, because that's from Spetsnaz. Like spy gadgets are not nearly as ludicrous as people make them out to be.
I think it's just become kind of ingrained in popular culture. But as with a lot of stuff in popular culture, some people just kind of like believe what they hear. They don't actually do some research into it.
That's like
ignorant. The way I view it, there are many people in society. To quote Fallout, there are many people in society that have opinions about a great many things they don't know about. The more ignorant the person, the more opinions about things they have.
Like just to go into like an example that's a little bit less high tech, like gamblers back like during the steamboat era, they used to have concealed guns that they could pull out from their like that shit's not that weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting like, what are your thoughts on From Russia with Love? Since I kind of
I like it. I certainly think it's probably one of the stronger Connery films in the repertoire. I would probably rank it my third favorite.
That's fair.
I mean, I like it. There's just two other movies in front of it that I like better.
That's fair. Also, fun fact: From Russia with Love was actually the last film Kennedy watched before he sadly was assassinated.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the whole reason they made that movie was because President Kennedy's favorite Bond film or Bond book was From Russia with Love.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one, and this is the movie that I think you and I are gonna maybe have a little bit of controversy.
Yeah.
Because you and I both agree with this. Third movie is Goldfinger, which is kind of considered to be probably one of the most iconic Bond movies, and I understand why. Fun fact, I actually own the soundtrack to this on vinyl. I have an original press. This version actually includes the classic Pink Panther animated short Pink Finger.
Wait, there was a Pink Panther short before this?
Well, I think they included it later because it's a parody. But yeah, this movie really comes out for I don't know why this always when you bring up Bond this
is the one that everyone remembers.
Which again, you and I have talked about it. I think you and I both agree that this is probably, honestly, to us, not one of the stronger or more enjoyable ones. I mean, it's not like a strong movie. Don't get me wrong.
I like watching it. It's just, I think it's a little overrated.
I think a lot of which I can agree. I actually think it's slow in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just in comparison to some of the other ones, this one never really kind of hit that high for me. Honestly.
I think one of the problems is because of the fact that Oddjob is in the GoldenEye game. Everyone plays up like this movie's so cool just because Oddjob was like one of the cooler characters to play as in GoldenEye.
Yeah. So again, before anybody misconstrues this, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I think my problem with it is it's what every Bond film is like afterwards. So this one is kind of old hat if you watch older Bond films because I think some of them did it better. And also it's the one that's been parodied to death by like everything. If you watched a James Bond parody, 9 times out of 10, it's parodying Goldfinger. Like, from the song, usually if they do a Bond song, it literally is just, Goldfinger! You know, like it literally is just ripping off the Goldfinger theme.
Yeah.
Like, even the Simpsons...
Which I actually argue it's not even one of the better Bond themes, in my
certainly
opinion.
not. For me, if it's gonna be... I'd probably say it'd be, like, Live or Let Die, like you...
Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy Who Loved Me.
Nobody does it better.
The Living Daylights by a-ha, Goldeneye, A View to a Kill by Duran Duran. But to be fair, for me, that's mostly because I like Duran Duran. But yeah, like you said, like it's very slow at the beginning. We spend way too long watching Bond fuck around with Goldfinger with poker and golf. I mean, granted, the golf game was kind of funny because Bond literally is just like, I've got nothing better to do. I'm just gonna fuck with this motherfucker. Oh, what, Goldfinger? You did your best? Losers always go on about how they did their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
That fucking movie.
The Rock. But
We gotta review that at some point.
we do at some point. But like you said, in my opinion, the movie doesn't pick up until Oddjob comes in. And to be fair, Oddjob is probably one of the best Bond lackeys ever.
No, definitely.
Dude is, because fun fact, that guy that plays Oddjob, he's actually, I think originally it was like a sumo wrestler or like some Japanese martial artist. But like, the dude is awesome. Like, he never talks, but like, he has so much screen presence when he's on screen.
This movie also has one of my favorite Bond-related women in it.
Oh.
Of Pussy Galore.
Oh yeah.
You must be joking.
Oh, I must be dreaming.
No, I love her character in this movie because it's like it's kind of a twist on some of the other Bond girls where it's like
Yeah.
she doesn't really take his shit. Period.
Well, part of that's because if I remember correctly, in the book she's actually a lesbian.
Yeah.
But Bond fucks her straight, which
Yeah, that's a misog. That's I don't know. Is misogynist the right word for that? Or
it's just it's icky, is what we're gonna.
yeah, it
Here at least they
certainly
don't.
hasn't fucking aged well.
Like here, at least they don't imply. Like it's more just. I'm gonna hate saying this.
it ain't aged well.
Pussy is not. That's the part with a lot of the Bond girls is because their names are just sex
slang.
puns. So like, pussy. I'm 30 years old. I'm trying not to giggle when I say pussy galore. But here,
You can't talk about this movie at work.
Yeah,
God forbid somebody in a break room here should
I
say
know.
that.
I'm like, no, I'm talking about a Bond film. Leave me alone.
What do you mean?
Her name's Pussy Galore. Basically, Pussy in fact does not get Pussy Galore.
Yeah.
But there's still that really uncomfortable scene where like he slaps her around in the hay before they start getting down to bang. Then, as much as I love Goldfinger as like a character and like
he's kind of lame.
then like the scene where like he's trying to like split Bond in half with the laser.
You expect him to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Which fun fact, this actor I think had to be AD because that's actually he was very, very Austrian. So like he had such an accent. They had to dub over him.
Yeah.
Then his plan is just so
Fucking stupid.
Because literally, yeah, you've irradiated America's gold. Your gold is not going to become more worth anything because they're just going to know you did it. But otherwise, though, the actions in it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. Although I think it's a little bit overrated in terms of the Bond catalog, it's still a damn solid movie. I mean, the action's good, the gadgets are good. You know, the story is enjoyable. I mean, as much as Goldfinger's plan is kind of fucking stupid.
Especially because he's not even a member of Spectre in this. He's literally just some rando.
Yeah.
But I was just about to say, I think this is the first film where they actually have Bond with the Aston Martin. This is actually, I think, the first, his iconic car, the Aston Martin, the DB5.
Yeah.
Which would become his standard car until I think around actually Brosnan, because I think is when they stopped using Aston Martin as his like signature.
They didn't
car.
use it a lot in the Moore films either because the Bond car kind of became a thing. You know, like AMC was in one of them.
Yeah, fair. But anyway, let's move on to the next one because I think we've talked enough about Goldfinger.
I kind of want to honestly, before we move on, I would love to get the rest
Of them, like the golden.
Yeah, with the gold tint. I would love to find the rest of these. Just because what I have is a hodgepodge. Like I have like the 007 collection. Then I have like this one's different. Like this one's the Connery classics, so maybe it's just for that has the gold tint. Wouldn't surprise me. You get into VHS collecting, man. You're like, I'm just gonna get the movies I like. Then you're like, damn, I want to get the variations and the covers of the movies I like.
Well, then you find out on the spine that they have like a picture, so you gotta get all of them with the spine, or else you won't have the full picture.
Yeah. So, but anyway, moving on. The next one is 1965's Thunderball. Which, as I mentioned earlier, is actually based on The story of this is fucking weird because
So strap in.
it started as a script for the next movie that Fleming and somebody else was working on. Well, then I guess something happened. They decided not to do it, or they sidelined it to do something. I think they sidelined it to do Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, Fleming is still writing the novels, and so what he does is he takes it, he adds a little more stuff to it, he changes some stuff around, and he publishes it in a book and just claims himself.
Yeah.
That lead to a lawsuit that later on became a huge deal.
Then I also want to think this movie's also kind of controversial because didn't they remake one of the other Bond movies? Is literally just Thunderball again. I forget which one it is. Actually, I think it might just be Spy Who Loved Me, where they're like, you made Thunderball 3, like 2. Well, no, actually, no. Spy Who Loved Me actually has it in the book, but
I don't want to say what one it is.
oh,
because it's gonna.
oh, I mean the one we have over there. Oh,
That's that one.
oh okay. Because I know some people have made jokes that like you made Thunder. I guess that was probably just referencing Connery, but another thing that's interesting about Thunderball.
Here's the cover of that, by the way.
Because Thunderball, you only live twice in On His Majesty's Secret Service, so technically, I think
A trilogy.
a trilogy. They did it out of order because Thunderball, I think, is actually supposed to be the middle part.
I'm not totally an
Yeah,
expert on the books.
actually,
so
I
don't want to even say if I'm going to say something wrong.
Well, going into the Bond thing, the Bond retrospective that I was watching, I remember. It's actually supposed to be On Her Majesty's Secret Service is actually the first film. It's actually, because Tracy, his wife dies, and that's why he wants revenge on Blofeld. Then You Only Live Twice, he almost gets it. And then I think Thunderball is actually where he was supposed to kill Blofeld in the books. So they actually did these out of
They did them out of order.
But to be fair, which is actually why
This whole series has been out of order.
Well, it's also why, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, people are like, why is Bond acting like he's never met Blofeld before? It's because he technically hasn't, if you're going by the books, which I don't know why no one caught that.
Yeah, to be fair, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the closest of the books.
Yeah.
It's the closest film adaptation that comes to the books.
Yeah. Anyway, getting into Thunderball. Thunderball, I find really enjoyable. I know a lot of people get bored with the underwater sequences because they're kind of.
It's kind of like the space scenes in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
But
they look good at the time and they still hold up, but damn, is it slow.
I think these are better because you actually get to see how all the stuff works underwater.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. And I like some of the underwater fights.
Well, and to be fair, Live and Let Die, the book, there's a lot of that book that's spent underwater.
Yeah.
So,
But
especially near the end.
But yeah, I think Thunderball is pretty solid. I like the plot. I like the villains in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say that this is the best of the Connery ones.
Yeah.
I can certainly see why.
Yeah.
But again, it's not my favorite.
Well, it's actually one of the cooler ones because I think that's the first one where you see all the double O's together.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, one of the double O's is actually a woman. Which, sadly, I think it's 009. I think is the woman. But unfortunately, we don't see the double O's after the part where all the double O's are called together.
Yeah.
I also really like Domino as a Bond girl. She's really interesting.
Oh yeah, I love Domino. Probably one of my favorites, honestly.
Also, probably the first Bond girl to have sex with Bond in a really weird place, they fuck underwater, which I think doesn't get topped until Moonraker, where they fuck in space. Oh my God, what's he doing? It appears to be re-entry, sir.
Which then gets topped by something that's not even in a fucking Bond movie.
Oh,
Fucking on his stairs in a Thomas Crown.
Oh my fucking God! Will you let go the Thomas Crown affair? I mentioned that movie once.
About how you think the stairs scene is uncomfortable as fuck.
Why? Because have you ever laid on stairs?
Yes.
It would not be fun to be having someone thrusting into you as you're slamming into those stairs.
It's like a running gag. That's me bringing up the Thomas Crown affair.
The only scene that's
just because Pierce is in it.
Yeah. The only scene that's worse than that of sex on the staircase is the sex on the spiral staircase from the moon.
Oh my God.
Damn,
man, it looks like it hurts.
No, it really does. Because
the part where he's fucking her belly.
Yeah. No, that's actually Johnny. But
I know.
But not only are you fucking on stairs, your body has to contort with the turn. So you're fucking on stairs and you're pretzel. You're getting pretzel fucked.
Let's get back to the movie because God, we're on a tangent now with this shit.
Remember the hyphen. You get pretzel fucked.
Pretzel fucked.
We're gonna make that a t-shirt. Why don't you? I want to put this chip in my mouth.
Fucking pretzel fucked. It's just fucking sexy.
Anyway, Thunderball. Do you have any thoughts of you?
I think it's one of the more solid Bond films by far. Of the Connery ones, it's probably my third favorite, honestly. Which I know I screwed up my order earlier. Russia with Love is definitely my favorite of the Connery ones. Then it's Diamonds Are Forever. Then it's this one.
Okay.
I just feel like it's a lot. It's one of the more solid movies. There's some decent action in it. You know, the Bond girl is good in it. You know, I don't think there's really a part of the movie where it drags. I mean, the underwater scenes can kind of get a little bit tedious on a rewatch, but like at the same time, they work.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a little bit slow, but they do work.
Oh, yeah, isn't this also the one where he kills a dude with a harpoon gun?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, oh, I love that harpoon kill. That harpoon, because he's literally laying down with this girl, and he just casually murders a dude with a harpoon gun. I mean, he was awesome. Next one I think is probably my second favorite. I kind of vacillate between it and Thunderball. You Only Live Twice.
I think at least have the gold label on them, too.
AKA the first Bond film I think to really, take place in the Orient. Or, well, Asia of any sort. Well, Japan here, but...
You only live twice.
Yeah.
You only live once. You only live twice.
And you live to die another day.
Well, you gotta live another day.
Granted, this movie, as much as I like it, I get why people would probably say it's not very good, especially because...
Some parts of it have not aged well.
Yeah, like turning Bond into a Japanese fisherman. Which, even back then, looks...
Pretty hokey.
Also, oh my god, they've got Blofeld on the front with his fucking cat.
Yeah.
I love Blofeld, but man... there's a reason why Doctor...
Like how they add the release date year on it to 1967.
But I really like this film. I especially like seeing Japan back in the mid late 60s.
Yeah.
It was really cool seeing that. I like the idea of the Japanese spy stuff.
Interesting fact from the back of the packaging. By the way, these came out in 1988.
Oh, really?
The set.
Okay.
The Spectre Volcano Fortress cost $1 million fucking dollars.
Well, because this is I think when the really famous guys that do all their set designs happen. That's right. This was one of the most expensive sets at the time because it's all real set. Like it has this working railway system in it. It looks really expensive, but it works. And to be fair, after this, that company would keep making sets for them, and they all look really good.
Yeah, they don't look hokey. They look pretty damn good.
They look solid. I forget what the production company is. I thought it was Atom Production or something like that. But it's
you were making production sets, huh?
In a past life, yes. But no, because I think they used them straight until the 90s, basically. Because I think the company eventually went under. But no, this is, I think, the first time they did it, and it looks
really damn good.
Looks really damn good.
I can only imagine what it would be like seeing this up on a big screen.
Also, there's that really neat scene where Q builds that little mini helicopter for Bond, and that thing is sweet. It's got missile launchers and shit.
Yeah.
I know people would probably this. It's at least cooler than the jetpack shit that will come up in later films. And in fact, I think one we're going to talk about shortly. No, actually, I'm mixing it up with a more film. Sorry, never mind.
Which one are you thinking of? Are you thinking of
the one where he thinks he knows a man faked his death as his in pretending to be his widow, because he figures it out because because back then women weren't allowed to get into a car unless a man opened the door.
Is that Octopussy?
I think that might be Octopussy. Because basically he leaves after.
It's not Man with the Golden Gun.
No, it's not Man with the Golden Gun.
It's not Live and Let Die.
I think it's Octopussy. But basically,
it has to be, I don't think it's definitely not Spy Who Loved Me.
Basically, after he murders the dude, he literally gets away from the guys pursuing him by using a jetpack. I'm like, this is why the Mord films get so much flander.
Yeah.
But I like Live or Let You Only Live. My biggest problem with You Only Live Twice is the killing of the Bond girl with the poison rope, because I'm like, that was really pointless. Apparently that's in the book, but I'm like, especially because the girl that they replace her with literally could have just been that girl.
Yeah.
And there's more chemistry with Bond and that girl than the other one, but
yeah. So this not to move this along, but
no worries.
This kind of is where there's a bit of a break. So basically at this point, Connery had kind of really gotten tired of the whole Bond thing.
Yeah.
So he kind of was like, I don't want to do these anymore. I want to do some other roles. Fun fact, he actually turned down the role in the original Thomas Crown Affair because he thought it was too damn similar to Bond. That role had actually been written with him in mind.
Which is hilarious because when they remade that film, they used
Pierce
Brosnan.
But they ended up giving that role in the original Thomas Crown Affair to Steve McQueen, which was a big role for him. But so at that point, they used George Lazenby as Bond for the next one, which is on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
Then
We will do that move separately, but we want to mostly make this about Connery, but
yeah, out of respect. But so what happened is a lot of crap went on behind the scenes. Basically, Lazenby, his actor his agent really screwed him.
yeah, no, his
agent
agent was the dumbest motherfucker in the history of
I mean,
dumb
I know
motherfuckers.
there's a whole doc about him, but it's like, yeah, I feel like his agent is screwed him out of this. But so they didn't sign up for the next movie. Well, what happened was they kind of talked Connery into doing one more.
Yeah. But in between that, he also, I think, was the one we're going to talk about, like kind of, but not really, was also made the one that we were just bringing up. Or did that happen after this?
Which one are you talking about?
Never say never.
That was in the 80s.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was
But-
later. Which we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well just
Yeah.
talk about that. one.
We will,
I consider that to count.
yeah, we will review it, but I want to review it separately since it's unofficial, so it should be its
technically
own
doesn't
thing.
count, but so anyway, they got Connery to come back for one more, which led to probably my second favorite movie out of his films, which is Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah,
I like this movie. I understand why you don't. This
well,
includes includes another fucking Pink Panther cartoon on it.
really? The pink-tailed fly?
So I'm guessing they had to be Bond parodies.
Well, that to be fair, like MGM makes the Pink Panther short,
Yeah.
so I get why they're on there.
Yeah, but like I said, I like this movie. I understand why some people don't. Like I know you said you're not really that big a fan of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I've always liked this
To be
movie.
fair, I like things about it. It's just, for one, this movie comes after On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It opens with Bond hunting Spectre agents. They never explain why he is. So they just pretend like his wife wasn't a thing. In fact, I don't think they mention his wife again until The Spy Who Loved Me. And I think the Timothy Dalton films are about him wanting to get...
It's been forever since I've watched a fucking
Yeah,
Timothy
so
Dalton
forgive me
movie.
but...
I'm gonna have to rewatch those when we do get to those.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to too, because I think I watched them once.
Which thankfully I have the Blu-ray set that has everything up to Spectre. So
Okay. But I like things about Diamonds Are Forever, but you can kind of see the paint chipping off it, basically.
no, I can't. I mean, you and I talked about this. It kind of you and I both kind of had the same argument that this really kind of has the same issue that A View to a Kill has.
Yeah, he's
which
too
is
old.
Connery's getting a little old at this point.
Especially because these girls look old enough to be his granddaughters at this point, which is really true for Moore.
Yeah.
Because I think he had to have plastic surgery at some point.
Well, he
in time.
even said, he's like, that was a really big reason why he stopped doing the Bond movies, was he's like, it's getting to be a little bit disturbing.
Yeah, and I can't blame him because, but the other thing is, this Bond is kind of, it feels like he regresses a bit. Like that scene where he's taking the top off the chick and then he starts choking her with her bikini top, and I'm like, I don't think your Bond does that anymore. The thing is, this is getting into the 70s, and that's not really.
Yeah, this was 1971 actually, 1971.
Yeah, we're getting to that point where we don't really do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then the plot's again kind of ludicrous, especially with the clones of Blofeld. And I think this is also the third or fourth Blofeld replacement they've had to do because they keep changing Blofeld's actor. He kills Blofeld, and then turns out Blofeld has all these clones that he keeps in mud. And it does some other stuff. When he's tricking the woman who I think is the diamond thief that he's trying to get the diamonds from. He puts his ID on a guy, and she goes, "Oh my God, you just killed James Bond." Was that who that was? And I'm like, so people know who you are?
Hold up. What's the point of being a secret agent then?
Yeah, like the British Secret Service should know who you are, but no one should just be oh, James Bond, famous. That's with in the later Moore films when Sergeant Pepper and that was Sheriff Pepper's you're that famous secret agent from Britain. I'm like, James, why do you keep telling people you're a secret agent? But like, to be fair, like there are some cool parts. Like I like the part where he steals the moon rover from that fake moon.
Yeah, like
there's
I
some
enjoy
cool
it. I
stuff.
mean, there's definitely some stuff to criticize, but it's just I've always liked it just because to me it's an all around enjoyable movie.
No, it's solid. I like the part where he runs into Plenty O'Toole. Or, I'm Plenty, but of course you are. Like in that scene where like the bad guy throws her out the window and she lands in the pool. How'd you know there was a pool? I didn't. Like I love the bad guy just like, honestly, I was trying to kill her. But of course, the deleted scenes for her, it doesn't end happily for her.
Yeah.
She gets murdered. But thankfully in the movie she doesn't, so for all
Yeah.
intents and purposes, she lives.
Yeah. So, like I said, how would you rank this one? I wonder. I mean, actually, let's save the rank. Let's rank the main ones before we get to the unofficial one.
Yeah.
So let's just go in order of these, just so we can rank these. So, Doctor No, I'm gonna rank this out of 10, my usual. I'm gonna rank this probably about a 7.5.
I'd probably rank this about a 7, 6.5 at the lowest.
I mean, I feel like I'm being pretty generous, right, with being 7.5. I mean, it's a good movie, but again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit more the weaker ones.
Yeah, like it's cool, but like I said, it very much shows its age and the fact that it's very much the one that had like almost no budget.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like Bond is really great. If you're gonna watch it, you're watching it for Bond.
Yeah. So, From Russia with Love, I'm gonna give it a solid 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well. It's like the perfect Bond film for me. Like I can watch From Russia with Love anytime.
Yeah. Goldfinger, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I still think, again, it's not one of my favorite ones or my preferred ones, but it's still a pretty damn good solid picture.
I'm probably rating this a 7. I think part of my problem is I've seen Goldfinger even if I haven't seen Goldfinger in a while because again like
it's parodied
so much. Like Austin Powers kind of ruined it for me with how many times they parodied Goldfinger.
Yeah. Thunderball, I'm gonna give this probably an 8 out of 10.
I'd also give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's also pretty solid. I think it's really good.
You Only Live Twice, again, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
I'd probably give it a 7. Like mostly for just like I think it's really cool, but I will admit the blatant 60s racism is pretty hard to get past.
Yeah. Diamonds Forever, I'm gonna give probably about a 9 out of 10.
Probably a 6 for me. It's mostly just because like I'm not a big fan of the Bond girl in it, and some of the more goofy stuff, like the part where he pretends to make out with himself. I'm like, Bond doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's a little much.
So as we mentioned earlier, there's one final Connery Bond film, which
we're not going to talk about a lot, but we just want to bring up.
Yeah, just to bring up, which is and again, this is another one that I have that's sealed. That is Never Say Never Again.
No.
Which, interesting enough, the Bond girl is Vicky Vale from Batman '89.
Now, if there's any movie where he looks way too old for the role, it's gonna be this one.
Yeah, which
like the way they got him, like
also the opening song for this is fucking trash. Like it is fucking terrible.
Also, on the front, he doesn't really look like Connery. You know who he looks like?
Who?
He looks like Ricardo Montalban.
I can see that now. I cannot see that now.
You know why I think I see?
Fuck me, I cannot see that.
You know
why did you tell me that?
You know why that is? You want to know what he reminds me of? Wonder Woman.
I was about to say, you gonna bring up that fucking shit? you gonna really throw that shit at me right now? But without diving too much into it, what I mentioned earlier with the Thunderball lawsuit, it led to that guy. He actually won, and he actually retained the rights to it. So he actually found there was a loophole that he could make a remake of it.
Yeah.
He lured Connery back because because Connery was like, I'm not doing any more of these fucking spy movies. No more of these. I've had enough. So they lured him back because we're like, we'll give you creative control. I'm interested.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. Like,
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Which this actually came out at the same time as Octopussy. Same time. So I mean, you could have gone to see
Bond,
and then gone to see Bond
again. Let's have a Bond double feature.
Yeah. Imagine if we were alive at it. We'd be like, well, let's go see Bond. Who are we gonna see first? We're gonna see Connery. We're gonna see more.
Well, what was the last Moore film before Octopussy?
It was Spy Love Me.
Oh, if it was fucking Moonraker, I'm gonna be like, we're gonna go see Connery's. Because
I think it was Moonraker.
Yeah, because Moonraker comes. That's one of the reasons why people didn't like Moonraker. Like, because it literally.
I'm looking it up. Give me a second. No, For Your Eyes Only was the last one before Octopussy,
I think For
which
Your
is
Eyes
a pretty damn solid.
Yeah, no,
movie.
I'd be like, actually, I'd be like,
I probably would have been like,
all right, let's go see more because at least
let's go see. I would have been like, let's see Connery first, and then we'll see more and see how it stacks up.
At least more would, if nothing else, more is going to be at least a decent palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Okay. If it had been Moonraker, I probably would have been like, no, we're going to see Connery first.
Fun story, real quick, and I don't feel bad sharing this one. I watched this on Netflix. This was on Netflix when they had no Bond movies. They had this crap. And I was like, what the hell is this? So like I threw it on. Me and my mom watched it. I know a lot of people will like to bag on this movie because it's not an official Bond movie. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's enjoyable in parts. I mean, it's certainly not a movie Certainly. That was totally unintentional, but thank you for pointing it out. But lost my train of thought. It's not a bad movie. It's pretty average.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a part of the movie where I was like, okay, I want to turn this off. Except, I think the song is so fucking bad.
Like I said, I've never seen this, so I would have to.
I'm gonna need, which I have another copy of that on tape because they've never reissued it on Blu-ray. I think because I think MGM has the rights to that now. So but they've never issued it on Blu-ray. It's on DVD, but like it's not even on the Blu-ray set for Bond, along with a couple of the other ones. Probably because I think it's a legal issue. But
oh, what they don't have the Woody Allen version of Casino Royale?
Fucking stop. But anyway, so yeah, when I loan this to you so you can watch it, I'm gonna have to loan you my other tape copy because it's not on YouTube. I looked, and I know for a fucking fact that it ain't on Netflix. It hasn't been on Netflix because, you know when I watched that on Netflix? It was fucking 2013 when I watched that. It is not on Netflix anymore.
No. I think we will do this one first before we do Lazenby. We'll do that and then Lazenby, and then we'll do more.
Yeah. So like I said, not dealing too much with it, but just you gotta have it because it does count, I guess.
So that was the one where basically it's like a remake of Thunderball.
It's literally Thunderball remade. Oh. Domino is played by Kim Basinger.
So they actually call her just Domino? They don't even change the names?
No, they're all the same.
Like, oh my god. That's
a scene where he blinds some dude with piss. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're like, excuse me? What the fuck?
Wait, was that in Thunderball? I don't remember a piss blinding scene in Thunderball.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't want to dive too much into it because I want you to watch this movie and just experience it like I did, but there's some shit in this movie. It's fucking wild.
No, I can imagine. Before we completely wrap up, again, it's unofficial, but it's kind of funny. Apparently, Sean Connery's brother was also in some spy movies. Because they're like, well, he's got to be like his brother, which I'm like, you know how I know this?
Johnny Cash's brother has some records.
Well, you want to know how I know about Sean Connery's brother thing? Because they were episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a movie called Danger Death Ray, which I might try to find because I own that one. And it's literally about, I think they even try to say that he's the brother of James Bond. Because I think either it was a TV movie that was supposed to lead into a TV show, kind of like Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Well, I just meant an MGM being like, okay, you guys need to fucking stop.
Because they don't call him, but like they kind of imply that his brother's James Bond. It's one of the worst spy thrillers I've ever seen, and it's hilarious, especially when you're watching it with like the Mystery Science Theater guys, because it is like ludicrously bad. Like for one, the death ray is like something you and I could make with fucking wood and some plastic.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, we should review the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie because I think you would love it.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah. But last final shot. There's all of these.
Yeah. So.
I don't have all the more ones, so when we do our more ones, I might need to just bring the DVDs in.
Fair. So, thank you for, like I said, this is in honor of you, Sean. I don't have a vodka martini on me, but...
Honestly, one of my favorite actors, honestly.
No, honestly,
he was in a lot of movies that I really, really enjoyed, honestly.
I love him in Highlander. Him as Ramirez is amazing.
The Rock. I mean, I know The Rock is kind of a meme anymore, but...
I remember
that's a damn good movie.
I remember liking him as the dragon in Dragonheart.
Indiana Jones.
I thought I lost you, boy.
I mean, he's great in that movie.
We named the dog Indiana. But no, like like whenever he shows up, he's a solid actor. He was King Arthur in Lancelot, and he was great as King Arthur. I'm trying to think of some other movies, but like the sad part is the movies I'm thinking are coming up are like the Avengers and League of Extraordinary
I was gonna say,
Gentlemen.
don't bring up League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That movie's fucking terrible.
Actually, another one is Zardoz. Have you ever seen Zardoz? The one where he's the gun is good, the penis is evil.
Yes, I've seen that.
Oh,
I watched that in college.
that movie's a acid trip.
I watched that at I was in somebody's dorm. It might have been mine. Maybe my fucking roommate put that shit on. I don't know. I remember watching that and be like, what the fuck am I watching?
I know how that goes. Like my one
put some shit on. It's like, what are we watching?
Yeah, because like what happens is
I'm here now. I'm invested. Well, what the fuck is this?
Here's the thing: when you go to college and you bring movies with you, you bring the movies that are really important to you in college. The problem is when you're in college, and I'm saying this for everybody, including me, your tastes are shit.
Basically,
because you're still in the mindset you were as a high schooler, and you haven't really gotten real life experience.
I know the 3 movies I brought with me to college. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. I actually don't. These are actually good taste. I'll actually argue that I had pretty good taste for what I brought. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 4, original cut.
Acceptable.
Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nick Cage
also
one.
pretty acceptable.
So that fucking movie's good. And then, God, what was the last one? The last one was something really fucking outrageous. God, I'm trying to remember. It might have been Smokey and the Bandit, honestly, which again, pretty fucking solid. If those were the 3 I brought, pretty fucking solid.
I mean, I brought a lot of movies with me to college, but
I didn't bring a lot because I had Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Netflix was kind of new.
Some movies I remember watching in college were like Conan, the original one, which was I'd never seen before. That movie's fucking great. I love that movie.
Okay.
King Arthur, the one with Keira Knightley, which my ex-roommate told me, he's like, that movie is not a good movie. He's like, it's enjoyable, but it's widely considered to not be a good movie. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That movie's I love that movie. I have the unrated cut. I might have to loan that to you.
To be fair, I've actually never seen that.
It's a good movie.
Well, to be fair,
it tries to do something different.
Well, a lot of movies I find that when it's not critically acclaimed doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Eddie and the Cruisers wasn't critically acclaimed.
Eddie and the Cruiser, and I loved that movie when you showed it to me. Yeah, but my more point was like, because like to be fair, but actually going back to because you had Netflix in college. When I was in college, Netflix was just starting.
Yeah.
So it didn't have nearly the catalog it had.
Oh, so it's like it is right now.
Yeah. And also, if you wanted to watch movies,
you had the fucking DVD.
Well, that or you
Secret
Ingredients Crime.
You put the shit on your fucking computer and rigged it up with an HDMI.
Although to be fair, my library up in Barron actually had some pretty solid films.
We had some at college too, but I think a lot of ours were VHS, and like I don't think you could take them out of the library.
No. See, we had DVDs, so
we had a movie room in the library.
Of course, then again, you were in Teal, so that's understandable.
Yeah, but
Teal's kind of older than Barron.
I think we've gotten off the beaten track here, but again, this is in honor of Sir Sean Connery. Rest in peace. I'm sure he and Moore are out there having a good time.
They're probably arguing about who had the better Bond movies.
Moore actually was stated to he said Connery had the better ones.
No, fair. Well, I just remember because I remember there's some British TV show they did a parody where Connery and Moore were sitting in a cafe or something and just arguing about who had the better movies.
Yeah, so
fair.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, for just listening to us talk about Bond. So we'll see you next week for some more Mobat November, some more Batman content. And, as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And I'm Zongetsu 134.
And as always, we ask you to remember the hyphen.
And take care.